Ho ho!
Tomorrow you kick off the second half of the league. How is the team doing and how are you approaching this match against a Levante side that has been more dangerous away from home?
Hi, Elena. Yes, obviously we're fully focused, full of energy, really looking forward to tomorrow's match. For us, it's a fundamental game. It's crucial to stay in the fight for La Liga. Coming back to our stadium, to the Bernabeu, in front of our fans, is something that motivates us a lot. And we want to back up that motivation with a great performance.
We saw you arrive here at 6:57 in the morning.
Did you see me come in that early?
No, not me. But do you really have that much work ahead of you?
Well, that's probably because you didn't see me coming in early when I was at Castilla either. I usually arrive early. And yes, there's a lot of work here, obviously. I said it on the first day. I came to sit in this chair to work, from day one until the very last day, until I leave. I'm going to give the best of myself and work as many hours as necessary to put this team where it belongs and fight to win every possible title.
You've said playing at the Bernabeu really motivates you, but what we don't know is how the Bernabeu will react after this entire week. The Super Cup, the Copa, the coaching change. How do you think the crowd will receive the players? Will they be angry or patient and understanding?
Look, I have a lot of respect for the opinion of the Bernabeu. I understand that Real Madrid fans may feel hurt or disappointed with us, but I'm going to ask them to support their players. In the 123-year history of Real Madrid, the great achievements, the great moments, and the titles have always come when the Bernabeu has stood behind its players. Juanito once said that 90 minutes at the Bernabeu are very long, and he didn't mean 90 minutes against Real Madrid's players. He meant at the Bernabeu, and that's what I'm asking of our fans. Despite the disappointment they surely feel, to stand by us, support us, and help make this season as good as we all want it to be.
I'd like to ask about Mbappé, his physical condition, whether he's ready to play tomorrow, if there's any risk. Is he feeling better? How do you see him for tomorrow?
He's feeling better, and he will be included in the squad.
In previous press conferences, you've spoken a bit about physical preparation and the return of Pintus. It hasn't even been a week yet, but what kind of feedback are you getting regarding the players' condition, how they were, and how you want them to be?
Well, I'm not unaware of everything that's being said, and if anyone is looking for my words to be a criticism of Xavi or his coaching staff, they won't find it. They'd be completely wrong. What happened in Albacete was a lack of ideas, a lack of play, a lack of physical sharpness, many things, and the person responsible for that is me. And as long as I'm sitting in this chair, I will continue to be responsible for everything from here on. There will be only one person responsible, and that's the current head coach of Real Madrid. As for Antonio, as I said the other day, it's a privilege to work with him, and we're going to work to recover the best version of our players in every aspect.
After the match against Albacete, you thanked Vinícius for his commitment. You know that what's said in this press room can be interpreted in many ways, especially by those who stayed behind. I'd like you to clarify that, because some reports are coming out that may not be true and are creating a bad atmosphere.
Look, regarding that as well, the squad for Albacete included the players who were available and able to play. Those who stayed behind did so because they couldn't play or because playing would have involved a risk of injury. When I wanted to highlight Vinícius, it wasn't just about thanking him, it was about recognizing his effort. I know where he was coming from, the very tough week he had, and the effort he had made. Not just his willingness to be there, but the way he approached the match. The runs, constantly taking on defenders, wanting to take responsibility, asking for the ball again and again. That's leadership. That's what I need from Vinícius, and that's what I want to see from him. There's really nothing more to it than that. And on top of that, I've also read criticism of the academy and the young players, and you should know that you'll always find me standing up for them. As I said on day one, Real Madrid's academy is the best in the world, and I will continue to trust in it, just as I always have.
Following up on that, I don't know if you felt that you were missing another player stepping up the way Vinícius did, being there in Albacete with the rest of the team.
They couldn't be there. I'm not saying that the players who stayed behind didn't want to come. Quite the opposite. Everyone who was available and able to play in Albacete came with us. Those who stayed behind did so because they couldn't play or because it involved a risk of injury. I decided not to take that risk, and I would make the same decision again.
I'd like to ask about Bellingham. With Xavi, there was always a feeling that his role wasn't fully settled, whether closer to midfield, involved in build-up, or arriving late into the box. What's your idea with him? Where do you like him best, and have you spoken to him about it?
Well, we've only trained for a couple of days, but even up close, you can see even more clearly the kind of player he is and the talent he has. He has to be one of the leaders of this team, given his ability. I like having players who can move freely. Jude is a player who arrives well into the box, but he also has the ability to create and build play. And that's what I'm going to ask of him, to be important, to have a real impact on the game. He has that ability to arrive in the box, and we need to take advantage of that. But for me, the most important thing is that he goes out onto the pitch with total clarity about his role, and that his personality and influence are reflected in the team's play.
The other day in Albacete, we saw that Carvajal wasn't in the starting lineup. At right back, a youth player started, and we didn't see Valverde there, even though he had been playing in that position in recent matches. What's your plan with him for that role? Will he only play there in cases of extreme emergency? What's your idea with him?
Well, the good thing about Fede is that I honestly think he'd even do well as a goalkeeper. I have him at my disposal like all the players, and he has such an incredible ability to play football that he can perform well anywhere on the pitch. The other day, I played him, most likely in his natural position, where he feels more comfortable. But I have a fantastic captain in him, and he's shown that over these past months, playing wherever the team has needed him. And with me, I'm sure he'll do the same. You'll see him in many different positions because he gives us so many options. As I've said before, I like having a team with a lot of mobility. You'll see players constantly swapping positions, the fullback inside, outside, higher up, deeper, and not just the fullbacks, but many different positions. I'm sure he'll really enjoy playing football, which is ultimately what I want. For him to go out there, enjoy himself, and feel comfortable. For me, that's what a Real Madrid player should be like. He embodies that Juanito spirit. Character, strength, commitment, sacrifice, and on top of that, talent. I think Fede represents Madridismo, and he's an exceptional representative of this badge and what Real Madrid stands for.
Your attitude on the touchline the other day was also surprising. We were used to seeing you at Castilla being more energetic, giving more instructions, and the other day you seemed more static. Why that change in body language?
That's actually very easy to explain. At Castilla, I don't even need to raise my voice for them to hear me. I can communicate much more easily with my players, make sure they hear me, and understand what I want. But here, in a stadium that's constantly chanting and shouting, it's very difficult for them to hear you. I spoke with the players closest to the touchline. In the first half with Franco and David, and in the second half with Vinny, with Fran when he was playing, and with Eduardo. But it's very hard for a player on the opposite side of a Primera División pitch to hear you. In any case, my main job is to speak to them during the week, before the match, and make sure they're very clear about what I want from them. Of course, we'll have to keep making adjustments, and I'll have to find ways to communicate better. But I always try to be a fairly calm coach, keep a cool head, and not let emotions take over, because I think that's the best way to make decisions. In the first half, it's about knowing what to adjust at halftime. In the second, what changes to make. But yes, I really do miss not being able to communicate with them properly. I won't lie to you.
You've been here a few days now. Not many, but a bit more than on the day of the Albacete match. How do you want your Real Madrid to play? What kind of Real Madrid do you want to see tomorrow against Levante?
I want to see a Real Madrid that goes out to win from the very first minute, with no doubts at all about our objective, which is to go straight for the opponent's goal from the start. I want the Bernabeu to feel that we want to win the match. Beyond the football ideas we have and will gradually work on as we get more time, I want a team with character, with personality, and above all, a team that transmits something, so that the fans at the Bernabeu can see themselves reflected in their players.
After the match in Albacete, Carvajal said the team had hit rock bottom and that the blame lay solely with the players. You said in your press conference that the blame was entirely on the coach. Internally, what reflections were made after that match? I imagine your words were also meant to shield the team from external pressure, but how have those conversations about responsibility and the future been?
I understand that people look for someone to blame, but I work to find solutions, and what I said wasn't something I didn't believe. I truly mean it. Everything that happens on the pitch with my team is my responsibility. When things don't go well, it's because I haven't helped my players enough. Either I didn't explain things properly, or they didn't fully understand them. I feel very responsible, and I always will, for everything that happens on the pitch and with my players. I still think the same about that defeat in Albacete. I wouldn't change a single word of what I said. As for what we talked about internally, I like what I discussed with my players to stay in the dressing room. That's understandable. But I did share an anecdote with them that I think I've mentioned publicly before. They're very young, so I'm sure they hadn't heard it. It took me many years to win my first Champions League. I had already been world champion with Spain, won 2 European championships, won La Liga here at Real Madrid, the record-breaking season, and the Copa del Rey. I had lost a Champions League final with Liverpool and several semifinals. And when I finally won that Champions League, which was special for me and for the club because it was La Decima, after so much effort and sacrifice, when you almost think it's never going to happen, it finally did. I got on the bus, and behind me was a teammate who was playing his first Champions League season and had just won his first title. He said to me, "So, next year we go for another one, right?" I just looked at him and thought, after everything it took me to win one, and he's already thinking about the next. And I told the players, "Do you know who that was? Your captain." Because that's the Real Madrid mentality. The past doesn't exist. Not when you win the Champions League, and not when you get knocked out by Albacete. You think about the next match, about beating Levante, and about moving forward. That is Real Madrid.
This has been a whirlwind week for you, being presented 72 hours ago, travelling to Albacete, and tomorrow making your debut as coach at the Bernabeu. What do you need right now? Perhaps time and calm for both you and the team.
Yes, of course. Coaches always need what we don't have, which is time. But honestly, I don't need anything. The schedule and the circumstances are what they are, and they don't scare me, worry me, or make me hesitate for a second. All I need is the fantastic group of players I have. With that, I'm calm. I sleep very well. Even if I wake up early, it's because I go to bed early. Don't worry about my sleep. I'm very motivated, full of desire, and I consider myself a natural fighter. I'm lucky to have an extraordinary squad, and I'm fully committed to them. We're ready and really looking forward to tomorrow's match.
The other day you spoke about failure being necessary on the path to success. Where do you place the threshold of failure, considering the competitions that remain and the context of your arrival?
I don't place any threshold. I was responding to a colleague who asked whether I considered something a failure, and I'll say it again exactly the same way. I've failed many times. Don't think I've arrived here going from success to success. That hasn't been the case, especially in my time with the academy. I've had great moments, but also many very difficult ones. And those are the ones that made me grow, question myself, reflect, and improve. That's why I firmly believe that failure helps you improve and brings you closer to where you want to be.
We didn't see Rodrigo again today. Can you explain exactly what's going on with him, when you expect him to return, and what you expect from him?
Rodrigo won't be available tomorrow. He's recovering from a very heavy workload, like I mentioned before, especially after the intense demands of last week, particularly for Rodrigo. Hopefully we'll have him back soon, so he can be available on Tuesday. We all know the exceptional quality Rodrigo has, what he's shown over the years at Real Madrid, and the great moments he's given us, moments we all still remember. Over the past couple of months, I think he's found his best level again, and that's exactly what I expect from him, for him to recover quickly and be available to the team.